Here, folks, is the entrance to the long-closed Pleasant Garden Cemetery in the Ridgeside community of Chattanooga. What we're going to try to find today is the gravesite of Ed Johnson. Looks like there used to be a structure there. This cemetery is in pretty bad disrepair. That flag right there in front of us is about the only sign of anything recent. Looks like there was another structure here once upon a time. Lots of overgrown graves. Not sure if you can see how it's all pitted around these graves. I'm not sure if they were removed or if the vaults just caved in over the years. A lot of headstones have been knocked over. I'm guessing that's probably vandalism. Looks like they even tried to slide this off its base. It's off center. Pleasant Garden Cemetery, founded April 22nd. Can't read the date, but I read it was 1890. I guess that looks like 1890. This is a African American cemetery. I'm not sure if there's any white folks buried here or not. A lot of early prominent African Americans buried here, and a couple of the Scottsboro Boys. And if you don't know who the Scottsboro Boys are, Google it, as in Scottsboro, Alabama, B-O-R-O. And Ed Johnson, who I'll get to in a moment. There's remains of an old paved roadway through here. It's blocked off by a fallen tree. This would be a spooky place to come at night. It's a gloomy day out, which is kind of fitting because this is a gloomy place. Usually when you think of an abandoned cemetery, you think of a little small place with maybe a dozen graves in it. This place is big, and to be in this kind of disrepair, it's eerie. Couple nice magnolia trees. I wonder if those were planted or if they just sprung up naturally. I think we're getting close. These people were buried in 1907, 1904, 1912. Mr. Johnson was buried in 1906. A lot of these around, little markers that had name tags on them one time. And we found it. Ed Johnson, born 1882, died March 1906. It's the only gravesite out here that has a flower wreath on it. I'm going to get up close and you can read the top of it. God bless you. I am an innocent man. Okay, let me tell you about Mr. Johnson. Back in 1906, he was accused of raping a white woman, and supposedly he didn't do it. But back then, you know, they didn't want to hear any facts, and he lost in court. It was a biased jury, and anyway, he was lynched on the Walnut Street Bridge, which is still up today. That's the famous pedestrian bridge in Chattanooga. I've got some video on that. He was lynched by a mob on the second span in 1906, and he was the second lynching that occurred there. There was actually another one 13 years prior, which would have put it 1893, so the bridge was 2 years old then. And I believe his name was Alfred Blount, but I'm not sure, and I don't know the circumstances to that lynching, what led to it, what he did. if anything. But Ed Johnson's one that's gotten publicity. So they're talking about putting a marker or plaque, which, you know, that'd be fine over on the bridge. They've got historical markers on on the bridge for the surrounding area. But if they do that, they need to mention both lynchings, not just Ed Johnson's. There's a group that, and I'm not sure what they mean by group. I can imagine who it is. It's calling for the county and the city to each put forth $100,000 for a memorial to Ed Johnson on the bridge. Well, hell, for that they could build a museum. That's kind of ridiculous. There's been a city councilman or a county commissioner, I'm not sure which, that has offered to fund a plaque, you know, to pay for it. And, you know, that'd be fine. There's, you know, but $200,000, that's a bit extreme. But in the meantime, you think they'd get some volunteers if they're so passionate about this deal and clean up the cemetery in Gravesite. This place, it's closed. And it's probably been closed many years. The newest grave sites I could see, tombstones, were 1968. Nothing was newer than the 60s. But this place is a mess. Headstones just thrown everywhere, and trees down and grown up, and it's a mess. Can't make out any of these, but I'm not sure if you can see the craters. They're where these graves were, or are. That's weird. This one's pretty interesting here, the bottle of hot sauce. Otis Hot Sauce Washington. Died 1965. Like I said, 68's the newest grave that's in here. Otis Hot Sauce. Wild. Spooky looking remains of a tree. Of course, this whole place is spooky. That's where that big tree is down up there, blocking that former road through the cemetery. Okay, I stand corrected. This is now the newest headstone that I've seen in here, 1970. That's the newest one I've seen in here. Okay, take that back. There's 73 and 72. More of these pits at the grave sites. So what is that? Is that where they've been removed, or is that just where they've collapsed? The vaults have given way over the years. When this tree went over, it just about dug someone up. There's a headstone. There's a little marker. And I don't know if you can see it. The old stone thing says Mother on it. Man, that thing went over. Mother just about came out of the ground, I suspect. Alright, this here was the main entrance road. Still a lot of pavement left. Well, kind of, sort of. Coming into the cemetery. The junk scattered everywhere. What a mess. And this is next door to Pleasant Garden Cemetery. This is another cemetery. Workman's Circle Cemetery. And on this side, Shari Zion Cemetery. It's small, but it's well kept. And then down this road, there's a gate with all kind of signs and security cameras, which looks really interesting to me. Oh well, hope you enjoyed this.